Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. In a major verdict today, the Supreme Court has upheld the Election Commission of India's special intensive revision of electoral rules in Bihar. They've called it a legitimate and constitutionally valid exercise. A bench led by Chief Justice Suryakant ruled that the intensive voter list cleanup is in consonance with the Representation of the People Act and advances the constitutional goal of free and fair elections. The court has also observed the SIR cannot be struck down merely because it follows a different procedure from routine revisions. The exercise aimed at removing duplicates, deceased voters and inaccuracies ahead of polls that has now been upheld as necessary for maintaining clean electoral rolls. The Supreme Court clarified that the process remains subject to judicial review though and does not reverse the burden of proof on voters. Jasmine Sandawalia, BJP spokesperson, is live with us. Anika Malhotra, Congress spokesperson, also joins us live. Bipin Sharma, senior journalist, is live with us. Vaibhav Mishra, Supreme Court advocate, is also joining us on the broadcast. Is this a complete setback, Anika, for your party, for your claims, for your charges during the Bihar and other elections?
Sir, let me reiterate here that SIR was always a matter of substance and intent. It was never a matter of, a form. Of course, power of doing SIR definitely lies with the ECI. But what we questioned was the timing, the manner, the style, the mode, and rightly so. Let me give you examples, sir. Supreme Court definitely answered question, but more than it answered, is raised many more questions further. Udayji, let's take para 171. It says the final matter of citizenship, cannot be done by ECI, right? And it has to be done by the competent authorities. That is the Home Affairs and Ministry of this thing. But then, on what grounds did the Election Commission delete the 65 lakhs vote and didn't give them a chance for appeal? It was the intervention of the court that the tribunals formed. But what happened? The elections were done. Now, let me give you another example. In Bengal, out of 8,000 or 6,000, 4,000 appeals have been accepted. That means 80% appeals have been accepted. It goes on to say that you have denied the voters the right to vote. It is not SI, it's the process and the injustice which has been done to the voters. Now, what is the point of going to appeal once the elections are done? So that was the pertinent question that is raised here. And the other, Uday, para 97 to 100. The Supreme Court itself notices gaps, omission, defining errors of the ECI. It says that we had to do structural correction of judicial intervention. For example, Aadhaar card was added. You remember they had given us 10, 12 parameters, the ration card and...
No, of course. While they have said that this... they have said that this will continue to be under judicial review, this entire process. But the fact is that it is not unconstitutional. It is not wrong. Electoral rolls and corrections and these amendments are needed is what the Apex Court has held today.
We agree on that. Yes, it's constitutional. But we question the mode, the timings and the styling of doing it, as I just mentioned to you. So you delete the voters first and then give them opportunity for rectification after the election has been done. Is that justice? This is what the questions are still unanswered. One more thing, the timings, the gap, the rigorous exercise takes a vast time, Uday, 4-5 months. And then you rush up and you delete voters. I agree wholeheartedly. Yes, people who are dead or not living the place, they have to be cleaned up. That's a process. But by doing so, are you actually deleting people who genuinely are voters? Who is going to repay the loss? And then the court says you can...
Jasmine Sandawalia, respond to that. So, Jasmine Sandawalia, the court has said that this entire exercise is not unconstitutional. That is a big verdict today. How do you view that? But Anika, saying there of the Congress, Anika Malhotra, that, the fact is that still certain things that the Supreme Court has said today, like citizenship, doesn't continue to be in the ambit of the EC. It is in the ambit of the government. The EC is no one to decide who is a citizen of India or not, are actually proving their point further is what their contention is. Your response to that and your overall reading of the verdict?
Fundamental reading of the verdict is that the Supreme Court has withheld that it was a fair process and the EC was doing a constitutional job and it was needed. And when the Congress spokesperson was saying the rush, that it takes a huge amount of time. After all, we are in a process of streamlining and working in a better way. And the Supreme Court, Supreme Court has categorically said that prior, when the Congress and TMC had moved the Supreme Court had included Aadhaar card to be a part of giving clarification to the right of a citizen to show that he was a citizen and part of India. So where does the Congress and the TMC and the opposition parties still harp on the issue that it was an unfair process? Yes, they have lost Bihar and West Bengal, but that has only happened because of their own anti-incumbency and their own process of not electing corrupt-free governments. So to blame it on SIR is totally fundamentally wrong.
Okay. Yes, Sonika, very quickly, and then I need to get in the others.
Contradicting her own statement, you see. What about, as he says about incompetencies and, incompetent. What about Sam? How come Himanta Biswas is again elected? Wasn't there any incompetency regarding the Chief Minister? So don't contradict what you're saying. Hold on, ma'am. Hold on. Oh, so you are the one to say good job. Tell me, in Bihar and Bengal, how come you deleted 65 lakh voters only on the behest of the parties that the Supreme Court had to say that put the list online so that the voters can appeal that if they are wrongly injustice been done. So you delete first and then you give the opportunity after the election. Is that fair, ma'am? I repeat.
No, that opportunity was given, Anika, that opportunity was given earlier. The opportunity was given earlier. It's not that after the election only. It's not after the election only the additions have happened. A lot of additions happened in the election before the voting.
6 and Form 7 were not included. Why were they not online? Why was readable data not given? There are many questions, Uday. It is not the SIR. It is the way it has been conducted is what is being challenged. And
Bipin
yes,
Sharma.
there have been injustice. How can you justify that, Udayji?
Bipin
that
Sharma.
out of 6,000, 4,000 have accepted the appeal.
Bipin Sharma, come in here on the verdict today. Is this a big setback for opposition parties? How are you interpreting the verdict today, Bipin Sharma? Should this once and for all end the politics on SIR?
Thanks, Uday. So ideally, definitely, the matters should, this should come to an end now that the apex court of the country has delivered this verdict, and it has made it amply clear that the Election Commission of India is well within its constitutional, it has the constitutional powers, the statutory powers to conduct the exercise of SIR. But then we should also take into consideration, bear in mind the fact that a lot of procedural safeguards have been advised. So definitely no one can deny. And, and I include the BJP also, that they would also agree in toto that, there must have been procedural lapses. And what about the marginalized segment of the society? Because the Supreme Court some time ago had made it amply clear that if there are mass exclusions, then of course the Supreme Court can intervene. So, and of course, the fact that the burden of proof is on the voters, ideally it should be on the state. So there are both aspects of the coin. But then, because we say that we respect the constitution, we respect our apex court, then of course now that the verdict has come, then definitely matters should be put to rest and we should abide by what has been stated in this verdict. Of course, as far as mass exclusions is concerned, the dispute regarding the citizenship, because it is also equally important to bear in mind that if some names have been deleted, it does not mean that they are not eligible citizens. And what about the fast track process? Because if on one hand the election process is underway, that goes without any encumbrances. But then what about those people whose names there is some dispute regarding their names? So I think this process also needs to be fast tracked so that injustice is not there as far as the eligible voters are concerned, because right to vote is everyone's right, fundamental right. So in such a scenario, both aspects need to be borne in mind. And the last thing that we expect is the politics over this kind of an issue.
Okay. Let me get you in here, Vaibhav Mishra, on what you make of the Supreme Court order and the verdict today. You've of course gone into the nitty-gritties of the case and of course what the judge has said in this order today. Just take us through the details of how you interpret the order and who you believe this is a setback or a boon for.
Thank you so much, Uday, for having me on the show. I was one of the petitioners. I had filed it in my name, Weber Mishra versus Election Commission of India. And in fact, today's judgment, para 9, my petition has been specifically mentioned as one of those petitions in favor of the SIR process. I come from Bihar, from Supol district. Supol district is bordering Nepal. I come from a village called Palua, which is about 20 minutes from Nepal border. So the effects of illegal immigration on not only the demography of the region, but also the electoral process, we can see first-hand basis. We had, in fact, in a written submission and an argument has specifically pleaded that there is a Patna High Court order states that illegal immigration is a fact of life in Bihar, specifically bordering districts, including Kishanganj, Katihar, Purnia, and all that Simanchal, Mithilanchal region. We had mentioned that as well. We had also stated that there's a specific data because in the course of arguments, it was time and time said that where is the data of number of illegal immigration? It's all a fantasy. There is no illegal immigration in Bihar, so on and so forth. We placed that as well in the written submissions. We wanted SIR process to be a regular conduct because the last time it happened in 2003. After 22 years, it happened in 2025. And we wanted it not only in MLA and Lok Sabha election, we wanted an MLC election as well. States like Bihar and UP have MLC positions equivalent to an MLA election, where the teachers' constituency and the graduates' constituency vote very well for member of legislative councils. So we wanted that. This judgment, which we have seen and gone through, basically takes care in toto as much parts as possible and has taken care of apprehension of those petitioners who said that if eligible voters and those voters who should have been on the electoral process, if their names are cut out, what is the remedy for them? Their remedies are still intact and still protected, and the Supreme Court has done that pretty well. And there's a competent body that in case you are a genuine and eligible voter and your name is cut out, you can go to that adjudicatory body and get your name back. During the course of arguments during September and October, there was specific. I knew a lawyer from Patna who still practices in Supreme Court. His own relative's name was cut out. He placed that before the court. His name was again got back after he placed a specific document before the adjudicatory body. So all that apprehensions has been taken care of by the Supreme Court, and we see this as a judgment which will, I think, benefit everyone. What our apprehension was that this should be regular interface because the last time it happened in Bihar 2003, it should not happen the next time after 22 years. It should be regular interval and a regular process.
Okay. Let me, in fact...
just two quick things I wanted to add here.
Yes, Bipin.
Yeah, so you see, the first thing that instantly comes to mind is a cleansing not needed? Are reforms not needed? Are they not the need of the hour? So that is one thing. And equally interesting is to, make a mention of what TMC's Kalyan Banerjee has stated. He's made it amply clear that this verdict is purely for Bihar, the state of Bihar, not for West Bengal, because West Bengal SIR process, which they are challenging, is on different grounds. So that will be quite interesting to watch what kind of grounds they are talking about and whether it will, have any merit in the apex court or not.
Also, quick follow-up question to you before I go back to the others on, as you were saying that you were very happy with how this exercise was happening and you said it is the need of the hour. This demographic change, how was that being legitimized by previous electoral commissions, and why? What has changed this time? That is one. And two, this point that Onika was, of course, making that certain discrepancies and certain other irregularities as far as citizenship have also been raised by the Supreme Court today. Is that a fair assessment of hers, or do you differ with that? Weber Mishra.
Very pertinent.
Weber Mishra, that question is for Weber.
See, I'll go back to the fundamental point that SIR process was upheld. Is specifically Article 324 of the Constitution, Section 21, Subclause 3 of the Representation of People's Act. It is held in consonance. So SIR does not go against the tenets of the Constitution or of the Representation of People's Act. Even Lal Babu Hussain judgment, which was cited again and again by those petitioners who were against the SIR process, even that has been held that it is not in contradictory by that in any terms. So the legal sanctity, and this is not the first time the SIR has taken place. SIR happened back in 1984 for Assam state also. The Inder Barua famous judgment Supreme Court that has been where the 5-judge or 7-judge bench had upheld the SIR process back then. So this is not the first time that is happening. It was upheld back then. It has been upheld right now also. The Constitution validates the entire process. It has been upheld quite time and time again. The apprehension that a genuine voter would be left out has been taken care of by this judgment. And I think there's the contours and the recommendation made in the end of para. It's a 124 page judgment. If we read the last 5-6 pages, the recommendations I think takes care in effect way all the apprehension which anyone would still have. If someone still has an issue with the judgment, they can go for clarification before the Supreme Court. But I think the judgment takes care of in total almost all aspects.
Yes, I believe Manaspi Thapar, a political analyst, has also joined us now. Manaspi, your interpretation of the Supreme Court order today, whether this will end the political debate on SIR or is that unlikely?
No, I think it will 100% end the political debate. There is no doubt about it, and also there is nothing about for the opposition parties to feel sad or bad about this judgment, because this judgment is completely correct. On the contrary, the SIR is constitutional. This is what the Supreme Court says, and this is what we all also believed it. This could be the headline of the day, but in the body of the judgment, it is quite different. While Supreme Court has questioned ECI, why did they exclude Aadhaar card when Aadhaar was itself the most widely accepted identification proof in our country, and so Supreme Court had directed that inclusion. And further, ECI had in the past they had refused to publish the names of 65 lakh deleted voters, and Supreme Court had to by force bring transparency in the ECI process. So all these things have together showed that ECI process was not correct, which Supreme Court had to intervene, and the process was corrected. While SIR process, while SIR itself is constitutional, the process conducted by ECI was not constitutional. This is what my understanding of things are, and ECI has not worked in favor of the citizens of this country. They also went overboard and said the process is where they would examine the citizenship of a citizen of our country, while the Supreme Court ruled out that and said that they would only examine the voter eligibility, and that has nothing to do with the citizenship of any person. So this is what Supreme Court has said. So if it is a blow, it's a blow to the political parties who have lost election. If it's a blow to Election Commission of India on the process, on the conduct which they have run in this country. So that's a questionable thing for them. Yes, SIR is constitutional. This is something which has happened in the past, and this is something which will happen in the future. But the process of SIR has to be properly implemented, and that blueprint by this judgment is something which is open for ECI to learn and govern the future SIRs. This is what this says. This has nothing to do with who's losing, who's not losing, and also they have also gone into the aspect of that there has to be no harassment to people. There has to be mechanism which has to be put up.
Absolutely. And look at what all has happened as a result of the politicization of this process. Jasmine, beg your pardon, Onika Mehrotra, we have seen Election Commission officials being attacked. We have seen Election Commission officials had stone pelting incidents on them. We have seen vilification of Election Commission officials. We have seen dharnas outside EC offices on this issue. And look at what the Supreme Court has finally said on this very issue. Was that fair for Election Commission officials to face that?
Was it fair for the BLOs to die or have suicide because of the pressure, Uday? Why don't you ask that question? How many BLOs died under the pressure? Will you not ask those pertinent questions, Uday sir? Yes, it should not be done to the officials. They are on duty and we should respect that. But the duty had the question mark of justice, the substance of lack of justice. That's exactly what we are trying to ask. Yes, the Supreme Court has answered the question, Uday sir, but while answering, it has left many questions unanswered. And that's exactly what we are asking. Let me give another example. In Bihar, we had to intervene and get the Aadhaar card as a part of the documentation. Whereas in Bengal, there was a logical discrepancy reason given for deleting. So whims and fancies of the Election Commission is what is under the doubt. And that is why the court has rightly said that citizenship is not the right of ECI. Yes, it is a constitutional right to have an SIR. But in the same breath, it says that the citizenship right is not under your ambit. Despite that...
Vaibhav Mishra responding to you. Vaibhav Mishra.
I just want to clarify one thing, Uday. During the course of arguments, all the political parties from Bihar were asked to file their affidavit if the process was wrong in conducting SI in Bihar. RJD, JDU, BJP, Congress, not a single political party came in front before the court to file an affidavit. Member of parliament from the opposition parties did file the petitions, but even during the final course of arguments, none of them came in front. It was the NGOs and we who are from Bihar who are affected. And
this is what happens. No, this is what happens, Onika. This is what happens. You know, you're very easy to make allegations, but then nothing happens after. This is the election commission. The election commission also asked every political party what is wrong with the SR. Come and tell us. No one went to them. No one went to them.
Let me answer you one more question, sir. Give me a minute. Let me give you my example. In Delhi, SR has been conducted. Do you know my name was deleted? Because my name was not there in the 2025 list. I had to show 2002's list. Now, from where have they got the 2002 analysis? So, 2002, I had to run around to find where my name was. Imagine the plight of the voters. Thankfully, I had the time.
No, but that's not because of SR. That happens every election. Yes, it is important. It is absolutely. It's important to fine tune the process. No, it's important to fine tune the process. It's important to fine tune the process. Absolutely. That is important to fine tune the process, but you can't vilify the whole election commission or SR. That is the point that the Supreme Court is making. Okay, Jasmine Sandawali.
You know, it's a pride in India that we have a impeccable election commission in this country. We have been holding elections here. Look at our neighbor Pakistan. We've really done a great job in India. But to run down every institution. Now what is happening is to take mileage out of anything which the government does well, the Congress starts creating a boogie. And I think the Supreme Court today has put everything to rest. And it's
that is why the videos are not shown of election commission. The videos are not shown.
Do not. I did not
cameras, nothing. Voting percentage goes up after 6 p.m. What are you saying, ma'am? Do your homework first. Voting percentage goes up after 6 p.m. From 60 to 80. No video cameras. बहु बेटियों की फोटो दिखाएंगे क्या? This is what the ECI says. हम बहु बेटियों की फोटो दिखाएंगे क्या? And you yourself go and post pictures. What are you saying, Jasmine, ma'am? Where is the video recording? If you're so fair, show us the video recording. How come the voting?
You do not believe in the Supreme Court of India? Do you believe in the Supreme Court of India? Do you believe in the Supreme Court of India? Does the Congress believe in the Supreme Court of India? Let me shout you down also. You are cutting in. Let me shout you down also. Do you believe in the Supreme Court of India? Do you believe in the Supreme Court of India?
What happened in Assam? What happened in Hemant Vishwas? Or dry cleaning? All your malice intention, all your corruption that washed away. Your Hemant Vishwas wins.
Okay. 1 second. Onika, now allow 20 seconds. Okay, you've intervened. You've had your response. Now allow just 20 seconds and I need to end. Yes, 20 seconds, Jasmine Sandawal.
That's right.
No, it's very unfortunate.
It is unfortunate for people like BJP to manipulate all the institutions, all the RSS everywhere.
Uday, just wanted to make a quick point.
Please mute her, please.
Okay, I'm afraid I'm out of time. I'm afraid I'm out of time. My thanks to our guests for joining us on this discussion. We've totally run out of time. The debate, it seems, over SIR will continue, despite what the Supreme Court, of course, has said today.